Yo, yes indeed. We back in full effect. Welcome to the No Pick Show. There's no hand holding. We do facts on emotion. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification if you haven't already. Here with my dog L, aka Just A Davis. How you doing this morning, brother?
I'm cool and another day, another dollar. You hear me? Another day, another dollar.
Hey, you must have got a raise, brother, because I'm doing bad. I'm doing bad.
Summer times be rough sometimes. You gotta just
Oh
kind of
yeah.
survive these motherfucking summers.
And I see that weather getting a little serious out there, man. Looking at
Mm-hmm.
some of the videos that came in from Lake Pontchartrain, things
Crazy.
look to be a little bit choppy. So I'm hoping everybody is in good health this hurricane season. So of course you did your show yesterday. Make sure y'all go tap in with Pels in the Blender. Spoke
Sure.
about some potential Jordan Hawkins dealings. Just based on conversations we've had prior
Mm-hmm.
to like Mark Stein and Jake Fisher, who do great work putting that work out in the dead of the night, mentioned
Yeah.
that the Pelicans are looking to totally just remove Jordan Hawkins from the equation. And well, what's happening with your paper boy? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, dog. Shout out to all the early risers. We never go.
Right.
Y'all know I don't wake up till dusk.
Yeah.
So I don't wake up till dusk. I'm a night person. So we never go live this early, but appreciate all y'all in the building. Um, they look like how it's framed is
Mm-hmm.
they're looking for financial flexibility
Yeah.
and roster flexibility because right now the Pelicans are sitting at 14 players on the
Mm-hmm.
roster, all guaranteed at this point, if I'm not mistaken. So they have one roster spot available. So
Yep.
ultimately, I'm sure they'll look to create another roster spot, or even if they don't create a roster spot, maybe looking to get a better fitting piece in that
Mm-hmm.
existing roster spot for Jordan Hawkins. So, what did you make of the initial report, and were you surprised by it?
Surprise, no, because we one of the main things we talked about like all summer is kind of like a preliminary move, right? Just
Mm,
the one when you have one roster spot, it's like all right, one move and then you're done. Or even if you were able to bring in a free agent, then it still just makes it kind of tough to continue to build out the roster. So I mean, we had been having discussions about like maybe a wave and stretch kind of move,
yeah.
something just to get the relief of Jordan Hawkins money off the books, just to allow you to have more flexibility to be able to make any kind of move, even if it
Mm-hmm.
is a lower tiered move. So we have been preparing people to like for these types of moves.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that, and we did the show yesterday because when Memphis was involved, it's like maybe it's for Memphis players, or maybe Memphis gonna redirect. Maybe you want something off Memphis roster. Even if that's not likely, we were prepared for them to consider waiving Hawkins to create a spot and create the money.
Well, I'll tell you what I was told yesterday. I talked to somebody yesterday. I talked to a lot of people yesterday. I ain't gonna lie. my phone was on.
The full
My
blown
phone was on
reporter
fire
at this
yesterday.
point, working the phone,
And
Jeremy.
you know what I realized? I gotta do better with my life.
Oh
I
no.
gotta do better with my life. I gotta start watching baseball or something. Because what the fuck? I gotta start supporting the Orioles.
Oh my
But
god.
so talked to a couple of people yesterday. From what I was told, Memphis is looking to rope in a third team potentially because they
Mhm.
also have some
They have some issues
roster
with their
flexibility
roster
that they
too.
need
Yeah.
to address as well. So from what I was told, Memphis would be looking to include a third team. I'm not sure what the
Mhm.
how this deal would look as far as like maybe they're sending out two players, taking one back, or maybe they're sending a couple of players into other teams. Cap space, you still got Chicago, who's a
Yeah.
factor as well, because you still got Bryson Graham in Chicago. They still have tax space. They can take back guys
Yep.
directly into that salary. Jordan Hawkins being one of them. The question I would have is if the Pelicans are likely to incentivize a team to do so, because we haven't seen a
Mhm.
ton of teams necessarily incentivized to take back salary this offseason. Even
Yeah.
with OKC, they received second round picks in exchange for them
Mhm.
purging some salary. Um, so I don't know how I know the Pelicans don't want to give up any assets. So
Yes.
the fact that this is starting to be like talked about, in
Yeah.
my opinion, kind of makes it seem like it could be a little close to happening, and they found a mechanism to where they wouldn't have to give up anything
and assets.
significant. So this is the actual report here. Shout out to Mark Stein, Jake Fisher. Make sure you subscribe to their Substack. Say we've been writing for some time that the Pelicans continue to swat away trade interest in swingmen, Trey Murphy and Herb Jones. No change on those fronts. That's an interesting way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Say, however, the Steinline has learned that the Pelicans are indeed in active trade discussions. League sources say that New Orleans has been exploring various trade frameworks to send out former lottery pick Jordan Hawkins for some potential roster and financial flexibility. Those discussion sources say include conversations with Memphis. That means that they're talking to multiple teams. Say there was no trade agreement as of Wednesday night, but we're told that Memphis has registered some interest in taking on Hawkins.
I think the biggest thing that I got from the entire report is it's kind of similarly to the same thing, and we talked about this on my show the other day too. And we've been talking. Appreciate you, bro. And we've been talking about this also all summer. Is that the Pelicans are incredibly tight-lipped, right? Not really much gets out about who they're dealing with. Like this is one of the first times, right, that we've heard like the team that they're actually connected to and what player that they might be trying to move on from. So all that pretty much does to me is, we've heard before that there have been multiple offers for Trey Murphy, right? So we know that to be a fact. We know that during the draft they made calls because everybody's making calls.
Right, everybody's talking, right? Answering the phone.
Exactly. Right. So we know that they had interest in Zaire Williams. So you know that there's certain players that they're kicking around, and now is getting out that they have interest in moving Jordan Hawkins. So while nothing has officially happened yet, the good thing to know is they are working the phones and trying to get things done, or they have some vision of what it is they want to do for this upcoming season.
Now, the Jordan Hawkins situation, in my opinion, I spoke about this yesterday on the members only show. I'm sure shout out to Kevin McCork. I'm sure he saw it, and a couple of other people's. I had another conversation yesterday with like the Jordan Hawkins thing in particular. I think it would signal an additional move post the Hawkins deal. Of course, they've had some interest reportedly in Kuminga. Well, I don't want to say reportedly. I've been told that they had some interest in Kuminga. And I've been told several different things on the Mathurin front. But the thing that's been the most consistent communicated to me on the Mathurin front has been Mathurin wants to play for the Pelicans. Mathurin's people want him with the Pelicans, which is interesting. Mathurin's people want him with the Pelicans. There's some dots connected there that I can't really get into, but it makes sense. It's just refreshing for someone to want to be with the Pelicans. That's why I really think it's interesting. But also, Mathurin want that money. You know what I'm saying? Mathurin gonna want some hands. I really think that there's almost no situation to where you get Ben Mathurin without sending out Herb Jones, right? Via sign and trade.
Yeah,
like that's my position on that because, well, what else, Jeremy? Just being realistic. I keep getting this new mic. Just being realistic. It's like, again, if you got Mathurin, where would he play? It's not enough minutes. So you would have to kind of, I don't want to say trim the fat, but you would have to consolidate that wing position, sending out one of those wings. I think trade for Ben is a bit lateral. Not sure the Clippers would do that necessarily, but I think it would have to be Herb. But let's say if it's like $18 million. I think from what I was told, Ben's asking for close to 20. So let's say it's $18 million instead of the MLE, and you sign a trade Herb. I believe that's a legal deal, right? So you would still, if you were able to move Hawkins into space and get that whole $7 million, you would still have roughly, if I'm not mistaken, you would still have roughly
It was
11
like
to
you said almost
10.
10 million, something like that.
Yeah, 10 to 11 million dollars to play with. Pause. You still roughly have that money to utilize to go again. You can address your center position and just
Yeah.
do center by committee at that point. Or even if you had another big trade lined up after and you were taking
Mm-hmm.
back more money than you were sending out, you could do that as well. But
Mm-hmm.
and you would have an additional roster spot. So hypothetically speaking, if you did do a sign and trade with Herb for Ben Mathurin and just brought back in Nick Richards
Let's use Nick
via free
Richards for it.
agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to use a name, Nick Richards via free agency. You'd be like,
Not a bad
that's
off season.
not bad at all. And shout out to the bro
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, man. Shout out to Dexter. What's the deal? Gotta get back to work. Just wanted to show love. Appreciate you, Jeremy. I know we
For sure,
dropping the
dog.
bomb on y'all with the morning show. This L territory.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's up with your kid, dog? Oh man, appreciate your super chat, Jeremy. Appreciate the 5-piece, brother. But
Absolutely.
what's your thoughts on that, L? As far as like, do you think that move would have a domino effect? Is my opinion. What do you think or suggest?
I 100% think it would be a domino effect, because when we're trying to figure out, because they have a lot of different ways that they could make moves, like Poole could be a move, Poole and Hawkins could be a move. Another thing that we haven't truly considered is let's say you do find someone
What
to
up,
take
Mike?
Hawkins,
Appreciate
right?
you.
Let's say you find somebody that will be willing to take Hawkins. Before you actually do that deal or execute a deal, you might be able to say, okay, we got a team that's willing to take this player.
Right.
Let's see if we could, maybe go big game hunting and expand.
See if we can expand this deal, right?
Exactly. Combine the trade and see how we could get it working, because sometimes finding the initial partner is probably an issue. So once you get past that, I think it just opens up more avenues for you to be able to do things. But we talked about it once they signaled that they were interested and would have signed Zaire Williams. We was like, okay, the writing might be on the wall for them to upgrade. I view it as an upgrade of Herb Jones. They had interest in Ben Mathurin last season. We'll see whatever that. Well, I don't want to say they had interest. Let's say Indy was looking for a big, had interest in Eves, and was like, what y'all want to do with Ben Mathurin, which is probably what put Ben Mathurin on their radar to begin with, possibly. Who knows, right? So with that being the case, and maybe these communications have been going on for almost over a year now, and then you already saw what you got with her from last season, and maybe the thinking is, I just can't run this back another season. At the absolute least, we need to figure out a way to address that. If it's adding the cap space and we use something like for the full MLE and try and address it that way. If we can't move Herb right now, like maybe we just go find the player. So it just basically opens up a bunch of potential options to upgrade that position. Once you find somebody to take Hawkins, then it's just all about how you all go about it.
Yeah, because also, there's a bevy of free agents still available right now. Some are absolutely not in discussion for the Pelicans, but there's still a lot of guys out there that could be brought in some capacity. I know Jayshawn Tate was signed yesterday, but you still got this is a crazy list. Still got Russell Westbrook. You got your Gary Payton the second, Nick Richards, Gabe Vincent, Bruce Brown still out there. I don't want nothing to do with that. Spencer Jones is still out there. That's the one that I did hear that they could potentially have some interest in Spencer Jones. Not a lot of data there on Spencer Jones, but but also he's a wing. So again, we're back at the you got interest in the wing. And this is and this is the rumor mill. So they could potentially not have any interest. Because one thing I will say that was stress to me, I'll say to a reasonable capacity, is that the interest is more so on Mathurin's end. I'm sure the Pelicans would have interest if they had just the money to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, we ain't exactly sitting on a bunch of money here. If we could create the full MLE, which I don't think they could at this point, but if they did by some way, create the full MLE or really close to it, and he was willing to take that, or maybe a little bit less than a full MLE, maybe they would do it. But right now, they're not necessarily in position to pay Ben Mathurin $20 million.
The issue with that also is even if you create some of the spacing, right? Let's say you do create 15 mil and you offer it to Ben Mathurin and he signs it. That don't mean that the Clippers can't just match you. You know what I mean?
Yes. To me, it almost would have to be a sign and trade, bro. Like,
yeah.
I think if you were able to do it because I guess it would be advantageous if you did have some way to do it without having to trade someone away. But the thing I just keep going back to is that it would just be too many cooks in the kitchen. Yeah. And you would find yourself in a position where you have at least one or two rotational pieces that are regularly just sitting. And so you
cannot afford that. You definitely, like, hypothetically, let's say you offer Ben Mathurin, you moved Hawkins, offered Mathurin the money, and he accepted, and you didn't have to sign and trade for it, right? Let's just assume that.
Right
now you sitting there with Ben Mathurin, Herb. Like, ideally, it sounds great, but you sitting there with Ben Mathurin, Herb Jones, Sadiq Bey, Trey Murphy, Zion, Bryce McGowns, Michael Peavy. If Pierre would never see the floor, right? Peavy still would never see the floor. And then that's not to mention you still got Jordan Poole, DeJounte, Fear, Queen. Like,
you would absolutely have to consolidate. Like, and then you're talking about, like, again, you wouldn't. Whoa, what up with you, Greg? What's the deal, homie?
Bro, appreciate
top of the morning to all y'all, man. Now, Primetime, shout out to DJ Primetime. He said he don't see Mathurin as an upgrade over. I'm guessing he would say Herb. William will say so. It's a consensus that Mathurin is an upgrade over Herb. Nobody disagrees with that. For me personally, I think they're two totally different type of players, but I do think it's an upgrade on the wing position, undoubtedly.
My thought is not whether you look at it as an upgrade or not, right? Let's say you don't do it stupid. Let's say you don't view it as an upgrade, right? At the end of the day, you're looking at a change in philosophy. So that you could, even if you don't view him as, okay, he's a better player, you could view it as, we're going to go with we have a guy who coaches defense. I'm going to go with a more offensive centric player so we don't have that hole in our roster. Because some of the things that matter more so than anything, people talk about fit. Like, if I want to start Eves, let's say you want to start Eves at the center, bro, starting Eves and Herb just kind of really hinders the rest of the rest of the roster. So now it's like, all right, I gotta consider starting Queen. But if I start, hypothetically, let's say I start Queen and Herb, you still have some of the same issues.
I think when you have a player that's a strong offensive player, right? It's easy to, in my opinion, easier to teach that person to not be disastrous defensively than it is to teach a very good defensive player who only does defense to be good solid offensively. Like, to me, it's tough. So I absolutely think that you need another attacking wing. And I mean, just generally speaking, you need to update the roster, upgrade the roster. You need more guys that can create on the dribble, and get their own shot in the event of, like, late clock situations. You need depth because Trey missed some games last year. Zion's missed a lot of games in his career.
Get hurt, man.
Herb is starting to miss more and more games. Jordan Poole only played in 39 games. Some of those were DNPs, but he also had an injury going into the season. DeJounte just never played. So like, you just can't count. Look, Bryce McGowan's ended the season injury. You know what I'm saying? So it's just always something. So I think depth in that capacity would help greatly, especially with guys who could put the ball in the hoop.
Also, we've seen a team, Denver specifically. Now, granted, they had a great team. Make sure
y'all hit that like button, man. I got to see what the likes is at, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Tap in with us.
That top of the morning show.
Yes, indeed.
We've seen teams like Denver win a championship with no great defenders, right? Aaron Gordon was a solid defender,
Yeah, he's
right,
like
or a
probably
good
the
defender,
best of their
but
all. Yeah,
but they won. I mean, Christian Braun
Bruce
was,
Brown.
yeah, but like nobody was like a Herb Jones level
Nobody. Yeah.
defender or anything like that. Jamal Murray hasn't been known as a good defender. Joker's really not a good defender. Michael Porter Jr. hasn't been known to be a good defender. So like, and they won a championship going away because they played good team defense, rebounded the ball, and just were elite offensively.
Mm-hmm.
So there's more paths to win when you're good offensively and solid defensively.
Yeah, I totally agree. To pivot a bit, we saw the ESPN power rankings come out, and this is something I think we've spoken about as well. And personally, shout out to Greg. I think as it like the last comment on Kuminga and Ben Mathurin, ain't no, to me the money just ain't out there for Peyton Watson, Ben Mathurin, and Kuminga. Like the money just ain't out there.
28 now.
Yeah, no, indeed. Somebody gonna end up having to take a 2-year 1-and-1 deal.
You know what's crazy is even if it, and we could pivot, but even if it was out there, because I know nobody else offering it to you, why would I do it?
And that's kind of where you find during that right now. Yeah. It's like the only person ever really said something was Sacramento, and why would we take back Sabonis in this regard? Yeah. Like you just don't have the leverage, and it's fucked up. But restricted free agency needs to end.
Yeah, that shit crazy.
To look at the ESPN power rankings that came out today, and this really goes to show you that like the champions don't get no love.
That's like the Knicks third.
Yeah, shout out to the Knicks. But so you have the Thunder at number 1, Spurs at number 2, the Knicks at number 3. But the most relevant part, in my opinion, and this way it gets relevant for the Pelicans. And kind of, I think this list gets kind of ridiculous because I'm starting to wonder, like, when I look at this list,
it's got questions all through it.
Yeah, like, what are you basing this on? So 17 is the Utah Jazz, who've proven nothing up until this point, but they do have a lot of talent. 18, Trailblazers. I think they could have swapped spots there, but 18 is the Trailblazers, 19, Golden State Warriors, 20 is the Suns. 21 is the Hornets, who just traded fucking LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges away.
Yeah, that's the one I have true question about. Yeah.
22 is the Wizards, who they got Anthony Davis, Trae Young, and AJ. So why are they okay? 23 is the Dallas Mavericks, who will be getting Kyrie back, but of course they're trying to trade Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, or they're at least entertaining possibly doing so, and they have added talent. 24 would be the Clippers. They just added Brandon, so I understand why they're so low. But 25 is the Bulls.
That's crazy to me.
To me, the list is like, look, bro, the Pelicans on paper are better than some of these teams. Like the Pelicans on paper are better than the Clippers today.
And then everything is on paper as of right now.
Yeah, like even on paper, they haven't played a single game. It's like we're on paper, the Pelicans are better than the Grizzlies, they're better than the Bulls, they're better than the Clippers. But my bad, just to continue the list: 24 the Clippers, 25 the Bulls, 26 the Grizzlies, 27 the Pelicans, 28 the Nets, 29 the Bucks, 30 the Kings. On paper, the Bucks are better than some of these teams.
Yeah.
On paper, the Kings better. Like this is a crazy list.
On paper, right now, the Kings technically not with Sabonis and Levine, and you just drafted. So it's interesting.
Oh yeah, boy, they were throwing darts with this motherfucking list here. This don't make no sense.
Yeah, I don't understand how the Cavs, who made it, even though they got swept, made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and beat the Pistons. The Pistons technically don't have Durant, lost Tobias, and you lost Isaiah
Stewart.
Yeah, and you lost Isaiah Stewart, and you lowered in.
This list is too premature and I think that's why I text you. Like this list is too premature with so many free agents still available. Because if LeBron goes to Cleveland, that propels Cleveland, in my opinion. Or even if Kuminga goes, that propels them to some degree. Whereas with Atlanta, I'm like, what did Atlanta really do. Like
I
a
mean, they
lot, some
kept
of these
CJ.
teams just really didn't do much to
Mm-hmm.
be where they are. I don't know, bro. I think
Why would the Pacers, who getting Halliburton back and most of their team still back, plus Zubac, why would they be so low? Like, I don't want to say low, but like, why wouldn't they be above the Hawks?
well, what up with you, Jess? Appreciate you, sis. Shout out to my
I don't
homie
know.
Jess, man.
That was just like last fully healthy, that team was about to win the championship. Or had a chance to win
Yeah,
the championship.
this is like buying fast food yakking me. I ain't gonna lie, you gotta like with certain shit, you gotta buy local. And look, I think we pretty objective, right? We're not super low on the team, but we not super high either. I think we're pretty like
pretty even on it.
yeah,
In
pretty
my opinion.
reasonable with our expectations. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Pretty reasonable with our expectations, but it's to me some of the feelings people have about individual players don't match how they feel about the team overall. And
I agree.
and it even with Jamal Moses, it's like by most metrics, it's a really good coach. Like, or he may not be in the top 2 tiers of coaching, but who's to say that? Because even Mike Brown just won a championship. Everyone felt bad about him, right? But I think you could say Jamal Moses at least middle of the road as a head coach. But so if you feel that way, but you're also a person that's like, well, we got to do something. We got to blow this roster. We got to trade everyone. But you know, we got to trade. We got to trade Trey. We got to trade her. But in the same breath, you're like, damn, why should we have to trade our good players? It's like, so you think they're good? Okay, cool. So you recognize that they're good players in your opinion. Okay, cool. Now, if you got a weak ass return for those guys, you would be upset because you traded away your good players for a weak return. You'd be upset about that. Okay. So how can you have all of these players that you deem as good players? You think Derek Queen is a good player. You think this guy's a good player. You think that guy's a good player. You deem all these players good, at least on paper. And you at least got to give Mosley credit, the benefit of the doubt of being a middle of the road coach. At
Playoffs
least
3 years in a row.
Yeah. I think. So no, I think it was like 4. Wasn't it a little longer than that? Was it?
I think the first 2 years. I think he had 3 straight 40-win seasons. I think they made it the last 3 seasons, made the playoffs.
So yeah, I'm just trying to understand, like, because either A, you're lying about how good you think these players are individually, or B, you contradicting yourself to a degree. Now, me, I don't think DeJounte is very good. I think he's better than what we've seen recently. Yeah. And if he could be solid this season, I think that would help tremendously, having him solid and healthy the entire season. I think Herb can't be as bad as he was last year. I think he's gonna get better. I think, you know, a lot of weird shit happened. I think he's gonna get better. I think everyone's going to get better. So I wonder, like, do you think people are even taking that into account when they evaluate the Pelicans? Like, clearly y'all think the Pelicans should trade all these players because they're good. So why wouldn't you think this team could get better now that they've added a middle of the road coach? Could I have my theory?
Are we talking from a national standpoint or from like the fan base standpoint?
I think it's a consensus. Honestly, I think it's a consensus.
I think
shout out to Nolan. My bad, bro. Nolan, try to hit the you might gotta hit the bell notification, bro. I don't know why YouTube don't be sending out the notifications. On my phone, I didn't even get the notification.
I got it.
I ain't get shit. Shout
out to me, you hear me? But
go ahead, bro.
But man, I think part of it is people just feel like people have the connotation when you think about the Pelicans of like whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So it's hard to be overly optimistic. But when you look at the players, it's like, man, they got some good pieces. Why aren't they good? But the thing is, if they put it together, people will be like, well, yeah, because of the players that they have, this is also could be expected. Like if the Pelicans won, this is my opinion, I guess. When people talk about, well, Trey fits on any team, right? Trey fits on any team. Zion would be at what, maybe a second best player on a lot of teams, third at the absolute worst. If you got Zion third, you probably a championship level team. People talk about Herb Jones as a impactful defender and role player, and you just saw the year Sadiq Bey had, and Queen and Fears are promising young. So like when you start laying out the roster, it's like, oh man, these guys should be much better. So I think it more so comes down to the thing that people just don't believe the Pelicans for whatever reason, whether it be injuries or they firing the coach, or the coach is not playing the guy, or DNPs type, just whatever. They'll get in their own way. Let me take these players and put them in their rightful position. For me, the only issue that I have with our roster, and why I'm not as high on certain players, or like I don't want to say certain players, or why I wouldn't give us as big of a window to move us up this list, is I think we might, and this is like championship level stuff I'm talking about, or at least like real contending level stuff, is because I think we have people playing out of position, but we just don't have that level of player yet. Like Trey right now is probably your second best player. I think for you to really be somewhere in like the mid-teens, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere like that, Trey needs to be your third best player. You get what I'm saying? Do that make sense?
I think that, and I think Zion just got to be better too.
That's the ultimate trump card, to be honest. Yeah. If he performs like true number one picks with his, not just any number one pick, but like where he was rated as a number one pick, like what he should
like a bona fide 1A player.
Yes, if he performs like a star, it changes everything. So, in my opinion,
shout out to the homie 504 boy with that salt bug. Appreciate you, big dog. By you sniper. Yeah, I did see that. I did see Fizz getting some running with the homie Clay. Shout out to Jordan in the building. Out the homie Louisiana girl in the building. Appreciate you, man. Good morning to everybody in the building. Yeah, bro. I also think, and you know, I get tired of the fuckery. You know what I'm saying? I get tired. Look, Louisiana girl even say nothing. But every time I see Louisiana girl name pop up, I gotta talk this shit. You know what I think a lot of it is too, bro? Whoa. It's a failure to acknowledge the coaching shortcomings of last season.
That's fair.
I think, again, I've seen very few people out. National people don't watch the Pelicans.
That's fair. They don't. They looking specifically at the record,
right? Specifically, no context, you know, whatsoever. But I think as local people who do watch the Pelicans, I think it's impossible to ignore 20 plus games blown in the fourth quarter. Like I think that's makes it possible to ignore. Because again, if you win 12 of those 20 plus games, you have a better record than
you had 38
Golden
wins.
State. You're like 38 wins.
30, you're probably in the play-in, or like
right. You know what I'm saying? Because Golden State won 37 games, if I'm not mistaken. So, or even if you tie with Golden State, that's only like half of the games you blew in the fourth quarter. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's very reasonable to accomplish. Like I put this tweet out the other day when we spoke about Jamal Mosley on our show earlier, and we talked about how double-digit wins and improvements they happen. Like from Jamal Mosley's first year with a tanking Orlando Magic team when they brought in Paolo, Paolo's rookie year, they went from 22 wins to 34 wins. The following year went to 47 wins. That's back-to-back years with double-digit improvement with a rookie player as your best player on the team. So it's not some like.
I looked up something the other day. I found very, very interesting, bro. Typically in the first year of hiring a new coach, the only one who didn't was is Elvin Gentry, because Elvin Gentry got his job after, you know, they made the playoffs. They won 45 games, and they thought Elvin Gentry was going to. And then, if I'm not mistaken, I think AD got hurt his first year when Elvin Gentry got hit. So it took them a season or two to get going.
And Elvin Gentry liked to drink. Like Elvin Gentry like to drink.
Yeah.
Shout out to Elvin Gentry though. I fuck with Elvin
But
Gentry.
look, when Gentry got fired in
Right.
Stan's first year, he won more games than the previous season.
Mm.
Stan got fired when Willie got here the first year. Willie Green won more games like the following season. So
I
like,
will say that the small caveat with Willie Green is that there was a shortened season when Stan was here because of the COVID shit.
yes, they was 31-41 that year.
Yes, that's the only like real caveat there.
And they were already on like a upward trajectory. If I'm not mistaken, when Miney took over as well, I think he started off kind of slow, but then picked it up. Like the trajectory like kind of went up towards, you know. So normally what ends up happening is if your team is terrible, right? When you hit the reset on the coach, for the most part, the new system, new influx of juice, if you already have like competent players and quality players, they typically play a little bit better than what it was they played last year. And that, like, Willie Green came, you know, got this job with no experience. Like Elvin Gentry had coaching experience, but he was an assistant coach as well. Like Stan hadn't coached for over a decade when damn near when Stan took the job.
Right.
So, and even when Borrego took the job for the however much of the season, he hadn't been working as an actual coach for, you know, like an extended stretch. So he was knocking off rust and cobwebs of being a head coach on top of not being good.
Well, I'll say this. I can't give Borrego that pass.
Only I'm not giving him no bell. I'm just saying, when we look at the Mosley impact and what it should look like, this is a guy who just recently was in competitive basketball, winning 40 games, developing a team. Why wouldn't you think he can do anything better than the 26 wins if they're healthy?
But the reason I said it, not that you were necessarily giving Borrego any bell, because me, I'm like, I just feel like it's a different position at the you know, being the head coach versus the associate head coach. But it's like, man, you've been in the same system for 3 years. Like you've been with the same players for the most part. It took you forever to win more than one fucking game. To me, it was just like you had 70 games. So for even for the people that kind of want to ignore Mosley's history as improving, you know, over time as a head coach from his first year to his second year to his third year, it's like, well, it's incredibly difficult to discount how bad Borrego's tenure was. Like, and I think until people address that, we'll never really get to the crux of the issue, because you have two totally different thought processes, right? Me having some conversations with some people, they feel like, well, yeah, we could touch up the roster here and there, but for the most part, we feel like the coaching was just bad. I believe that's the feeling in the building based on conversations I've had. Like,
I ain't gonna lie, I'm not mad at that opinion, because while they could be flawed, and I don't think they're as good right now. It's not proven to be as good as the roster that won 49 games. You had Brandon and JV. So you do have some. So we're not saying they are 49-50 win team at this point. That roster is not as good. This roster is not as good as that roster. But at the same time, going into each season previously, you were thinking they were going to win 30 something games relatively easily if everybody was here.
My position on it is like, while I don't agree necessarily, I understand why you would feel that way. Like that's my position. I'm like, well, yeah, looking at everything in totality, that's a reasonable feeling. Right. And on the other hand, you just have people totally ignoring the Borrego impact. Because like even the thing with Willie Green is like, Willie Green was only here 12 games.
He
said 12 games. So let's say he's gone, right? Let's say you give Borrego 10 games to kind of get his bearings, get the ground beneath his feet, figure this out.
It's still
Bro, that's
60
60
games.
fucking games left.
Yeah.
It's 60 games left. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
and you were healthy, so you didn't even really have the injury. It was just usage, the way you deployed the
right.
roster.
Or even if you want to stall them out and give them that injury factor, say, well, look, man, DeJounte Murray was out. It was like, I bet if you believe DeJounte Murray is a contributor, is an effective player, okay, well, he's not out anymore. He's gonna be back moving forward. Right.
Yep.
So why wouldn't you just like, to me, it's just
you just naturally feel if you have DeJounte for majority of the season. When DeJounte got back, even this is the part that's crazy to me. When DeJounte got back, right? Even with all of the issues that they had, roster and all of that, because this is pretty much the same roster.
Yeah.
People were saying you were gonna make a push for the play-in last year.
And I ain't gonna lie,
you almost had an opportunity. If you that 9-game stretch that you had, right? I don't think they do it. We said they wouldn't do it, but I'm just saying
they could have though.
You could have done it if you
you could have. And again, it wasn't Auburn Riggle's fault. Again, it's one of those losses to the Phoenix Suns. You missed like 17 free throws, so it's nothing. It's nothing a head coach can do about that. Like he can't shoot the fucking ball for you, so it's nothing the coach can do about that. But it's like the opportunity to seize the moment was there. Like, you know what I'm saying? They just failed. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure y'all hit that like button. But under a new coach and new leadership, relative health, and I do think that they still should make roster additions. I still think you got to address shooting. Of course, you need at least one more rotational big. No one's asking for, like, well, at least I'm not asking for. I don't know what other people ask for. I don't watch other people's shows. But like the thing I'm asking for is like a rotational big at this juncture. I don't think there's like that de facto starting caliber big out there. Like even with Daniel Gafford, I feel like Daniel Gafford can start, but in the most ideal situation, he's a rotational big. Like he's splitting minutes with another big. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I kind of think the NBA is leaning towards that direction, because off the top of my head, like when you think about some of the better teams, only a couple of them have elite centers. Like there's Jokic, no one's stopping Jokic. There's Anthony Davis when he plays, no one's stopping Anthony Davis. There's Wemby, no one's stopping Wemby. No one's stopping Karl Anthony Towns. There's only a few of those guys that are really out there. It's 30 fucking teams. So out of 30 teams, you're probably talking about maybe 7 elite bigs, and everyone else is just like, well, he can start. No, he can.
He can play the position.
He can play the position. He's not bad. Like, you know, even Jared Allen. Jared Allen is kind of like, that's a very good starter. He can start, but he's not like
an ultimate difference maker. You gotta have
right.
You know what I was thinking about? Like, even if, let's say hypothetically, you were to acquire Duren, right? Let's just say you do something. Don't cost you it don't cost you like Trey Z, nothing like that, right? And you drop Duren onto the roster. You still like he's your starter, but you still don't know if that's gonna if he's gonna perform to the point where it's just gonna make you, you know what I mean?
It's like you got 1 year performing at a super high level.
Yes, that's right. Exactly.
So anyone, especially if you traded something of value for him, the contract is risky, but even trading something of value for him is risky. Like even with Evan Mobley, had, the market opened bad like a motherfucker. I just checked my account. But anyway, so even like with Evan Mobley, I think they regret that contract today.
I bet they do.
Because it's like
$60 million for what he. I'll say this: the production, they have gone further into the playoffs each year, and he's on the team and he starts, so you have to say that he's part of it. It's kind of like So that's the part that I always find like interesting, because with Mobley, it's like, dog, I don't want to pay Mobley $60 million.
And you're like the fourth option most of the time. It's like, hell no. Like, it's just one of those things.
Ooh. Like, oh my gosh, bro. Can I get a $40 million option? I'd take Duren right now. Like, they'll probably take Duren at 40 million, not at 40, but you know what I'm saying? You'll probably take the hit as opposed to playing 60. Dog, you gotta win when you like pay that kind of money. Like you gotta get it done.
No, it's a lot of things. Like it's so many ways to interpret what goes on with the team. Because again, something might come out in the media, then you have some conversations behind the scenes, and it's this, and this. And it's like, well, a lot of people probably know this, so why are we reporting it this way? Like, you know, it's just a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes. We're gonna get to a couple of these questions, man. We'll get out here. I appreciate everybody tapping in for this morning edition. Just wanted to speak about the Jordan Hawkins thing. Some conversations I had the last few days as it pertains to Hawk, as it pertains to Ben Mathurin. You know, again, just to summarize and reiterate, top of the morning, shout out to the homie Ed. Peace, bro. Like, just reiterate, you know, to my understanding, there is some communication there. I think the aggression probably is more so coming from Ben Mathurin's side. And I'm sure that they're being aggressive with a number of teams because you don't want to get left without a dancing partner. Brett Siegel reported yesterday as well that there was even some conversations with the Detroit Pistons as it relates to Ben Mathurin. So I'm sure guys like Ben Mathurin, if you're at the point, if you're Ben Mathurin, if you're Kuminga, if you Peyton Watson, I gotta sell myself. Now I gotta sell myself. Because the worst thing that can happen is I'm like, fuck, I gotta take the qualifying offer and try this again. Because all of them dudes, Mathurin, Duran, with Kuminga unrestricted, so he got to be a little more desperate. With Mathurin, Duran, Peyton Watson, they all got the threat of just being like, I can take the qualifying offer, but fuck, I want to secure this money now.
Let me ask you a question, and then because this is like when you think about this is getting interesting. If they end up, let's say Peyton Watson, let's use Peyton Watson as a
good point by Squallow as well.
Speaking of the media, close mouth, send the league and team, but that is that we spoke about that first thing in the show. Is kind of like they don't say much, but this is getting out, so it's interesting to see what that'll lead to. But for players like Peyton Watson, who's a restricted free agent this year, unlike Cam Thomas, right? I think if Peyton Watson wasn't restricted, he might be able to get his number somewhere. If you the Pelicans, right, do you run the risk of not doing something this year? That, like, an example would be, do you run the risk of not trading Jordan Poole for like a Miles Turner because Miles Turner got that extended contract and you won't have the space next year? Where if you wait it out, players like Peyton Watson, Ben Mathurin, all of these players, if they don't get long-term extensions, could very well be back on the market next year, and you might have opportunities to sign those players outright if you do your part in creating the space. So, like, do you think they should, unless you could get a player that you would keep, like Mathurin is probably a player you would keep. So if you could find a way to get Mathurin, that's one thing. But if that's like not on the table, would you just kind of like, does it make sense to like kind of stay pat while you see how this shit play out with the other players? Because they might have to take qualifying offers, and you wind up like, was Tari Eason restricted this year?
Yeah.
Okay, he was restricted, but like, let's say he don't get his deal. Let's say Peyton take the qualifying. Kuminga had to take, I think Kuminga took the qualifying too, didn't he?
No, Kuminga was on. He got a 1-1 with Golden State last year.
Okay, he got a.
But they had a team option, so they ended up declining.
They're moving him. Yeah, so like you just kind of waited out to see what these dudes do, and then you have avenues to possibly acquire them players you really want to make this team better next year. Or you don't really believe in like waiting and creating the space.
I think there's avenues to thread the needle.
Okay.
Right. I think there's, like, for hypothetically speaking, like, I wouldn't do this, but one of the avenues, like when you saw Atlanta, like, I'm going to give Jock Landale $15 million. Now, for me, I think that would be terrible. Right. But if you're Atlanta, you're like, no, this is a multi-step process. We made several moves last offseason. this is going to be something at the deadline because now I got a $15 million expiring.
Yep.
In the rotational big. Now, if you're New Orleans, and that's to say that this is their thinking, it's like if I could get to the deadline, right? If I could get to the deadline and I got these large expiring deals, or I got this guy here, I could package, somebody's gonna be upset that they didn't get the contract that they wanted. Like I could easily see Tyree Eason being traded. Because he didn't seem thrilled with that deal. Like hypothetically, if the Pelicans did like Duran, or if it was a deal that was just too good to pass up, like, oh damn, they brought him back for $35 million.
Yeah,
that's that ain't shit. All right. So all right, Pool's expiring. I'll go get Duran. Like, it's something along those lines. I can see a world where that exists. I also do think though, also you need to start fast, and you do have to approach it. If that is the plan going into next year with this cap space, not just tax space, like cap space, because going into next year right now, they're at like $50+ million in tax space.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, let's say you sign Sadiq Bey, you'll still probably be in the 30s, 40s in tax space, but you won't have that cap space to utilize, right? You have to find avenues to create cap space. Gotta find avenues to create cap space. Shout out to Anthony. He said, don't forget about the $4.5 million trade exception we have for the Jose deal. I don't think that'll get utilized because those are rarely used.
Yeah.
Also, the Pelicans don't have like roster spots, so they're not really in a position to take a guy, just have someone traded into that exception and not send anyone out right now. And they're not in a position financially or roster wise. But just to answer your question, I feel like, and shout out to everybody to be able to make sure I hit the like button. I think what you need to do right now is round out the roster, find some cheap shooting, go get a big man, be it Nick Richards, whatever. Do whatever you plan on doing with this wing position, be it Ben Mathurin, Kuminga, Spencer Jones. You got to get it across the finish line. You get it across the finish line, then we can start kind of focusing on trimming the fat going into next off season. And I think the primary candidate for that is going to be this DeJounte. Like, to me, it has to be. Because if you get that $30 million off the books for next season, just like, son, like, it's like, come on, like it would be sweet.
I agree. I think you have how I view order of operations like quickly. I understand moving up. Like, if you could do Hawkins to create an opportunity for you to sign a Mathurin, sign and trade. Let's say you sign and trade Mathurin, get Herb off the deal, you turn Herb into Mathurin. It's like, all right, long term, that's a win.
Yeah, that's a win.
That's a win long term. Okay, if I got off of Hawkins and turned Hawkins into a Nick Richards, okay, boom, that's rotational space, maybe whatever.
That's a really good offseason to me.
That's a solid win.
Yeah.
Season starts. If I can have DeJounte playing well enough, right? If you have a good season and DeJounte is playing well enough, which is why DeJounte is starting 100%, that by the deadline, you either move him at the deadline or he's played well enough to go into the offseason where Rich Paul is like, look, opt out. I got places for you to go.
Yeah.
Now you in a position where, okay, I think that's more so of the thinking as opposed to I gotta move DeJounte right now to where I gotta attach something to him to make that move. You get what I'm saying? Because realistically, he's not starting for us going into the following year.
Most likely. I mean, if there's a world where he is, then something is going terribly wrong on the Fears front.
And like, if I'm DeJounte, I know that. So like I want to be somewhere else.
I want to be somewhere where there's no hurricanes.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I think the order of operations is right now. I think you're trying to prioritize Herb, upgrading Herb. I won with Sadiq Bey. Jordan Poole is not a priority. Players that might not be available right now during the season. Again, Trae Young wasn't available last offseason for CJ McCollum. He was available during the season. After how the season started for CJ McCollum and that expiring. So
it was crazy. bro, I'm sorry to cut you off. You make an excellent point. It's just amazing to me how things are framed.
Yeah.
Because it's like David Griffin did not want Trae Young.
No.
Right? Trae Young was not available for the price he was available for during the season, last offseason. But people still frame it like the Pelicans chose Jordan Poole over Trae. It's like the most disingenuous.
You don't think if Trae Young was available, if the Hawks was just giving away Trae Young in the offseason, let's say in the offseason before they extended Herb Jones, right? You don't think they would have fucking packaged?
Well, that's why them accusations be going out though, and because it just optically how things get reported, it looks bad. Like reporting it that way is totally disingenuous. It's like today I was watching something. It was like, yeah, the Pelicans they just have no interest in trading their guys, and it's like, no, they told you the price. Like if you pay the price,
you can have them.
You can have them. If you got two unprotected first from like good first for her, he could be yours. Or I think they take one very good first for her. He could be yours. But I think
they
it's
also
a disingenuous way.
I think they also were forced to pivot because like they probably have the offers for Trae.
Oh yeah, that's what I've been told.
But if I don't have the offers for her to bring in somebody that I think to replace Trae, why the fuck? I mean, to replace her, why would I move Trae? Do you get what I'm saying?
And I think people could feel how they want about Trae, right?
Yeah.
Trae still averages 20, and he plays in a way that a lot of people around the NBA envy. Like I said, enviable skill set for us, just shooting the three. 6'10", like he's on he's on a good contract, run the floor, finishes at the rim. Like that's a appealing, appetizing play style for a lot of teams.
David Griffin's gym. Like Trey Murphy is David Griffin's gym.
And it's like, I mean, because the crazy thing is, if you comparing, it's funny how shit just works out, right? That's why again, all the accusations look a little crazy because. It's funny because if you compare Troy Weaver's draft record in Detroit to David Griffin's draft record in New Orleans, it's not even close. It's really not close. Yeah. And so it's wild, bro. And shout out to Raphael, because I do believe that the LeBron thing is a factor as well, because if LeBron go to Cleveland, where Kuminga going? Yeah, if he go, because it's going to be some fallout, because remember the Cleveland was still looking for somewhere to send Max Strus and Dennis Schroeder.
Yep.
That's a good point. And the reporting is that the Lakers still trying to find a way to get Kuminga, and the Hawks like, dog, we don't want Vanderbilt, period. You better find somewhere to send this dude. Yeah. Like, you
better go find Jordan Hawkins.
Yeah, you better, what you really need is Jordan Hawkins. Shout out to the Navy chef. He said, man, y'all doing the show early. I'm all the way in Japan. Now I got to stay up. What's the opposite of Konnichiwa?
Yeah.
Konnichiwa just mean like hello, right? I don't know what goodbye mean. Little Navy chef, how you say I was trying to say good morning. How you say good night? And he's like, nigga, I'm just visiting. I don't speak no fucking Japanese. I'm just visiting. I got Google Translate.
Man, I'm here on duty.
Right, like I'm stationed here. I just got here.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the building, man. We appreciate everybody with the super chat, man. Shout out to Jeremy. Shout out to the homie Michael Morgan. Shout out to 504 boy. So L, we closing out the show, bro. Tell us how do you think this Jordan Hawkins situation is ultimately resolved, or you think that it's just talking, nothing happens?
I think they make it a priority to move Hawkins, to be honest. The only reason is, the main reason, I guess, is to open up more opportunities, because I don't think they're looking at big swing kind of players that you would need Hawkins and Poole's salary to go get right now. So I just think they're all right. Look, let's move Hawkins, create the roster spot, and then we could look at like those mid-tier players that we're thinking about, like maybe a Max Strus, and then. Because I look at it like you could double up in some kind of way. If I have a Herb trade and still have my my free agency money, I look at that as two players.
Yeah, so I agree as well. I see it as the first move in a series of maybe two. I would
Yeah.
view it as the first move in the season, maybe two. Move Hawkins, create some of that salary cap space. Phone blowing up. Move Hawkins, create some of that salary cap space. And then ultimately you're looking for shooting and or rotational big man. I do think it's kind of interesting. Nobody signed Nick Richards yet. He must be interviewing poorly. Because Nick Richards that started on a couple teams. Like,
yeah,
so
he didn't have some valuable time, but like again,
yeah.
nobody's really been. No, let me ask you this, and then we could close with this. What do you think? When do you think free agency is technically gonna like not end, but like when we'll see most of the players be over? Because we getting ready to go into August.
I think with the LeBron shit, because that's always like a thing, bro. I think
LeBron don't sound like he got no, like he ain't in no
to
rush to
me,
do nothing.
I feel like a lot of it's LeBron just dropping his nuts, son. Like just being like, man, I'm
Y'all
flexing
bitches
on.
gonna wait.
Yeah, like, and it's a shame, like, cause at this point in the NBA, bro, I don't think it's necessarily stopping everything because we've seen other teams make moves, but I think for wings, it holds up a certain wing market, perimeter market. Like it wouldn't stop a center from getting signed, but it would stop wings like Kuminga, like some of the other perimeter players.
You got Draymond not signed because they waiting to see if they
James
got
Harden
LeBron.
waiting on that. Like Kuminga's waiting on that. They just said Mario, he coming from fucking overseas.
He
He's supposedly waiting on it.
wait.
It's like, come on, man. This is ridiculous.
Most of y'all motherfuckers know y'all not getting Brian, but I guess it's just kind of like you can't take yourself out of the position, the opportunity until you absolutely
right. Because at the end of the day, LeBron still had an awesome year last year. Like, so fantastic. If I could get him, he's gonna help any team that he goes to. So it's just, but I think this shit could bleed into August, probably going into camp. Because if you're a team and you going into camp and you got like 19 motherfuckers on the roster, you're gonna end up just having to cut some of them dudes. And that's another thing too. I thought about the other day. I was like, if I was the Pelicans, would I just watch and see if they cut Jericho Sims? Like,
that's what I was thinking, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I was like, would I just watch and see? Like,
you just wait and see who get let go.
Yeah, like if they just cut KCP, would I just watch and
they literally was just talking about buying, like KCP not gonna be on that roster. D'Lo not gonna be on that roster. I'm not saying you want D'Lo, but
not even saying you want KCP.
Not even saying you want KCP,
right?
But let's say you freed up Hawkins' money. Right, and then you just wait. Like once you get closer, and nobody wants to wait that fucking long. I get it, but people still get cut and traded, and everybody's hopeful right now. But at some point, the business of basketball kicks in, and people gotta fill rosters. People gotta decide who's coming to camp, who the two ways are. Like, so you could just wait it out. And, maybe Kuminga don't get signed. And that 14 mil look real good to me right now.
And I ain't gonna lie, out of everybody, I feel like he gonna be the one that end up kind of like in a weird spot. Like, I might as well take this little 10 mil you got because So shout out to the homie friend of the show, man, Chris Crisp. He put out another video with Zion Williamson the other day that's been getting some really good feedback.
Quality video too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this has been a great marketing off season for Zion. We'll see what happens on the court, what comes to fruition. But if you Zion with this level of marketing this offseason going into the season, you need to enter the season trying to average like 28, 29.
No, if
you need to be going for 30, bro.
If he start the season how he started it last year with like 29, 9 and 8 type shit. If they start off with some wins, if they get off to a fast start, 4-1, and he averaging like 30, bro, that shit I'm talking about catapult you to, because if he play well, he gonna be on TV.
Like ESPN, they gonna add some national games. They gonna he might get a new shoe deal.
They love Zion, bro. ESPN, when he play well, like everybody know the star is there when he show up. You just gotta show up.
Zion gonna end up probably going to the Anta route. like Kyrie did.
Kyrie.
Because if Zion show up, unless he show up and ball out, because they try to offer him some bread. I can see Nike spinning the block. Because right now, Ja got Nike on his back. I can see Nike potentially spinning the block, but we're gonna get to the Zion video, man. Shout out to everybody to make sure y'all hit the like button. Again, hope y'all being safe during this hurricane season. I saw Lake Pontchartrain wilding out. So man, thoughts and prayers to y'all. Make sure y'all being safe and being vigilant.
I'm like, damn, I'm going to New Orleans. I remember when Hurricane Katrina happened, and I was like, man, I'll never go there. Straight up, like, this is a true story. And
wrong video.
You know what's crazy? You got Ryan Clark and DeJounte, two niggas that don't play sports no more. That's Ryan Clark and two niggas that just don't suit up no more. But anyway, here you go. Shout out to the good video.
In the six, I'm a national treasure. The niggas that bad me gon' bad me forever. R.I.P. Kobe, but y'all niggas broke me. That's probably why y'all be shacking together. Like Capital leaders got habits together. Like couples vacation, they packing together. Like rushing to finish, they'll slap it together. The charges like COVID, they'll catch it together. They hate me so much, it's a sickening thing. They must have heard wrong on the call. I sent them a set cause I wanted you shit to the king. When you was a part of the team, we used to be planning our Mexico trip in the spring. We must have been dealing the spur of the moment. Kawhi, we think you could get us a ring. And bragging about how you went home, the fuck it ain't home. Cody, we blew him away. G-Pop sent us a real one from Dago, and next thing we knew we was doing parades. Talk about you pussy man who can relate. I just go take me a walk by the sea. They kiss on the boy till they blew in the face. I put on the faces, they blew in the safe. Really can't find me the words, you niggas is birds. I wish that I knew.
One thing I will say too, I like seeing him shoot that corner three. Because how many times have I don't remember Zion ever shooting one corner three since I've been watching him. And that was versus, it's funny because I can remember the game. It was versus the fucking Phoenix Suns during the 49 win year, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when Devin Booker just went straight fucking ham sandwich in New Orleans.
The second game.
I know we had on the black jerseys.
I know we played them twice.
Devin Booker just went fucking ham sandwich, bro. But again, that corner three, Zion's another guy. Sometimes he just parked in the corner. If he catches the ball from the corner, he needs to be able to take advantage of those opportunities and shoot that corner three. The easiest 3-point shot on the court. Take advantage of it. You can easily get 2 threes a night from the corner.
I ain't gonna lie. I hope that motherfucker ain't never in the corner. Like, I like him shooting.
Yeah, I don't.
We park that motherfucker in the corner, like at times during the season, like insane. I don't expect him to be parked in the corner that often.
My thing is just like, if let's say you're on the court with Fizz and Fizz doing this thing, or D2 ball top of the key or something like that, and you can make, and maybe the 2-man game ain't working right now because the spacing ain't there, but you can make yourself a threat getting to that corner, knocking down that corner three. I think if you just talk about the 3-point attempts and just the volume, like just if Zion could get to 2 to 3 threes a game, and Jordan Poole actually play some minutes, they'll play, they actually play them, man. And you got Bryce, you got some of the other guys, and I just think that's how you can increase your volume, increase your margin for error. If you're Zion, even if it's not the most efficient shot, it's the easiest 3-point shot on the court, and that alone gets you to like 18 attempts if you're Zion.
Zion threes instill confidence in the team, bro. You got to shoot.
Yeah,
I hope,
man.
I hope the handle is tighter. Like I hope to see improvement in the handle.
No, that would be nice because they seem like, look, they playing basketball, they working on basketball things. They not just lifting, they're not just doing push-ups and calisthenics. They're they working on actual basketball things, and I'm sure it's a lot of shit that we not seeing.
Because I need to see him working, because I know we see him do a lot of like, and this is just for me, somebody who like watches, like when you watch Trey train, right? Trey is training on like some of his isolation moves and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like getting to certain spots. Him and Jose, I think you saw the video, him shooting over. Like, I want to see Zion doing some of those things.
Yeah, some actual
some actual basketball work, like a move or two, getting to a spot, pulling up. So like some of that kind of stuff too, not just the catch and shoot threes, or not just ball handling drills against
Like
Nobody.
cone. Yeah. I can say there is a lot of stuff that, and shout out to everybody that just joined, and make sure y'all hit that like button.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that nobody's seen.
Yeah, facts.
Cause I seen some of it.
Yeah.
And I say that. I will say
Mhm.
that. And I also been told, you know, Zion locked in pretty good with Sham guys. So I'm sure there's some fly shit happening behind the scenes, but boards don't hit back. I need to see it on the court this season. Tell the people they can find you at, brother.
Always, man. Y'all catch me on Pels in the Blender on YouTube, man. I just say Davis on X. I appreciate everybody for sure.
Yes, indeed, man. Hope y'all have a good, blessed, safe weekend. At Cheddar Chaz on Instagram, Twitter, what have you, man. Make sure y'all tap in. #1 Pelicans critic. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to Pels in the Blender, hit the bell notification as well. And congratulations to my dog, Bayou Sniper. He just launched his show, his podcast. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. The show is called it's just at his channel, youtube.com/@BayouSniper, the flight path.
The flight path.
So make sure y'all go tap in with that. Support the homie, friend of the show, always showing love. And shout out to everybody in the building.
Man.
I just uploaded a new membership episode last night. If you missed it, make sure y'all go check that out. And y'all have a safe, blessed weekend, man. We out. Peace.